right, welcome back to Morning Live. Now, two petitions contesting the constitutionality of the new currency notes unveiled by the Central Bank of Kenya on June 1st have been referred to the Chief Justice for the composition of a bench. Justice Weldon Korir, who certified the petitions filed by East Africa Legislative Assembly, lawmaker Simon Mbugua and activist Okiya Mtata said the petitioners raised weighty constitutional matters requiring determination by a bench. The petitions are challenging inclusion of founding President Jomo Kenyatta's statue in the new notes as a violation of Article 131, which disallows the inclusion of portraits of individuals in national currencies. Also challenged is a move by the central bank to demonetize the 1,000 shilling note by October 1st, a move the petitioners have argued has no legal basis. And now in studio, I'm joined by Daniel Orogo, who will be telling us now about all these petition issues because we expected it to happen, and Article 131 clearly stated indeed that no one or no other image should actually be amalgamated as part of the currency, but still we've seen that. So what next? Because now this will not be a normal hearing. It's been thrown out to the Chief Justice, who will now form a bench to get to the matters. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning,
Happy
sir.
Eid al-Fitr.
It's cold outside.
It's
here.
cold out here.
Yeah, but we are wishing our Muslim brothers a good Eid Mubarak, and I think the country is united to celebrate with them this holiday.
Sure,
it's been long coming,
absolutely,
but finally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
New currency. Wow. The notes look cute.
Well,
Small in size.
Well, do you think this issue about new currency, it's an issue that dated back to 2015. I think you could be quite aware that the battle began. It could have been implemented in 2015, the introduction of the new currency in the new notes subsequently. But you understand that this battle has been in court because of the tender issues. Because the problem was who was to provide the tender for printing. And you see, this is not new to Kenyans. That any other activities or any other issue that deals with tender must always find this very controversial in the public discourse. But the sixth schedule, I think, gives us an opportunity for us to have had a process to introduce the new banknotes. Now the contestation is all about, and I can't believe that, at this stage we are in a position where we are going to court because of a portrait. Or because of, an architecture in the notes. Though we are right now struggling what is good for economy and what is good for the public interest. Vis-a-vis what is the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. Article 231, sub-article 4, actually gives the description that the central bank, who is, mandated to print notes, should not print notes. Should print what is in the display of what promotes the national, the national image. But it ought not to print note that bears the name of an individual. Now, look at what the proposal note in the new notes. It's about the portrait of, the founding father. Now, Nick, that is in contrast with what is in the Constitution. And the central bank governor, Dr. Njoroge, has explained that the due process was followed, which is not within his explanation of the due process is not meeting the satisfaction of the public.
It's true that.
So that is what is in as we speak, that the judicial process, which is bequeathed with, rolling the wheels of justice, is hearing two cases. And not only two cases that are here. Probably there are many cases that are pending in the same issue. But what is good for the country? As we speak, what is good, is it a system that is curbing corruption, as we are talking about? Is it a system that is going to deal with illicit financial flows, according to what the governor is talking about? Because it's tragic that we are having 260 billion, worth 1,000 notes outside there, unaccounted for. The question is, 83% of 1,000 notes is in circulation. You understand? 40% of it is already printed, and is already the person printing is already paid, and it's printed already. Vis-a-vis 29% of 500 shillings note, 83, 1,000, 53%, and all these small currencies. The question that I am asking as Kenyans: why are we having 1,000 notes more than all other local currencies that
Yeah.
is in circulation.
Yeah.
Yet, if you look at this, the central bank has given us that less people, less Kenyans are having bank accounts with less than $1 million shillings in the bank.
Yeah, of course, it's a sample of what the economy looks like still. But now, looking at this, the promulgation of the COK, and this was very clear because now many people are arguing that this should have happened immediately after the promulgation. But still, as you mentioned, tender issues, corridors of justice, back and forth, all those things kind of delayed the process. But looking at now the bigger picture, because now Patrick Njoroge, the central bank governor, said the main motive is just to control the cash flow, and also the fact that now we had the wash team, very active working with 1,000 notes. But now the new one will be very tricky for them to not just come up with something. But still, some are also arguing that the same people who are inside there, they'll come up with something.
Well, you know, the issue about demonetization, I think in 2016, you saw what India, the vibrant Prime Minister Narendra Modi just introduced the same. And for India, they were not given 4 months. It was very sporadic. But then I would want to tell you that there were flaws within that declaration. That as much as there was an issue about mopping up, you know, the illicit flows within the Indian economy, it actually brought the Indian economy down by 2%. I think you know the effects of that. India has got, you know, an economy that is almost $216 trillion compared to ours that is about $663 billion that is outside here. Look at the effects of what happened in India. Until now, they're struggling to stabilize that economy. And according to what you're asking, the central bank governor was asked what is the cautionary effect of trying to, you know, curb these within 4 months. And he said, we are learning from demonetization issues that happened in India. Now, the issue about why did this not have to be introduced in 2015, and again, this brought us back to what we are having right now. We cannot proceed with an issue when we have a lot of court battles that derail the system of implementation. We cannot have it when, you know, we try to do it to think that we are targeting certain individuals. We cannot have it in the backdrop of politicization of our economy. This has never happened anywhere. And I keep on saying in this bench, the moment an initiative, a noble initiative like this is brought to stabilize the economy and to prevent, you know, proceeds of crime from circulating in the economy, then it begins to be political. We're not going to meet, you know, what is required. But then I was also thinking about it, that right now, look at even the measures that has been announced by central bank. Those who own, that would want to exchange, for example, between 1 million to 5 million, and you do not have bank accounts, you have to write to the central bank, you know, to clear you and to give you a note so that you go within your bank. Now, I am wondering how many millionaires do we have that will have to line up within a period of 4 months to get clearance from central bank so that they would again go back to their branch. It is also telling us as Kenyans that if you have, for example, 1 million, you have to get a clearance to go to your local branch so that you have an exchange. So for me, I am thinking that, you see, the initiative is very noble, but the thinking processes within it's really something that really needs to be thought about. And again, one day, merely a day after this pronouncement was made, a driver in Samburu County
was really nabbed.
Was nabbed with millions of shillings trying to drive them somewhere with unknown. And you see, this is going to what we call a banditry economy. We are going to have where, you know, local people, if we could have a saloonist, you know, have tenders in the National Youth Service, just a saloonist. We've already seen the effects of just a mere driver, driving with notes to go and find ways of exchange. I think what we are going to see is, you know, the valueless economy. And remember, the central bank has to be very careful not to devalue the currency against the US dollars. Because if that happens, then we are going to have economy that is not stable.
Is this a matter of the notes of the currency? Because now it's just 1,000 bob notes. Yes, we saw some samples of 50 bob, 100 bob, but still I'm very sure that will be sporadically distributed and circulated. Now, look at the issue of cash flow. You know, when you talk about cash flow, many people are saying now there'll be serious money all over this country. Like people will be buying stuff and there'll be money in circulation. You see, when guys are complaining of being broke, it means maybe someone is holding money somewhere. Yeah, of course you have your salary, but indeed the economy is tight. Now, prices to fall. Maybe even the likes of even the services, normal services, from transport, from food, the basic needs, just to go down. Now, what do you think about the pros and cons? Because you might look at the positives, but forget that indeed it might pinch someone.
Yeah, and I think this is what I really indicated, that when we are having right now, there's a complaints about somebody somewhere hoarding. You know, there's money that were hoarded.
Yeah,
because like you said, Kenyans are broke, and you see, and sometimes I always think if International Monetary Fund had got a precautionary measures, I think sometimes last year, on terms of, you know, what is the really stand of the per capita income of Kenyans per capita. What is it? And the government is projecting at 6.3%. International Monetary Fund is projecting at 5.3%.
Yeah.
So that tells you that, you know, our economy is not really stable. Who knows exactly where we are standing? But that brings an issue. How then do we measure the performance of cash flow, and how do we measure the performance of a stable economy? By the circulation. You know, Mwananchi has to feel the effects of money in the hand.
Sure.
If few people are really having these so many $1,000, and this is why I told you, why would Central Bank of Kenya have a problem with 1,000 Kenya shillings note?
Sure.
It's the king currency, which, if we could be having a stable economy, could be very difficult to get. We could be having a problem in terms of accessing 1,000 shilling notes, because that means it is stable, and it's very difficult for you. Really have to work hard to get it. But why is it in 83% of it in circulation? More than 500 shillings note, more than 200 shillings note, more than 150. Where normal money, it means it is the basis of printing of the fake currency. Some people are printing at merely 1,000 shilling notes, not more than notes. So that means it is circulating, but it's in the hands of the few who are able to get it. But then, just like you've mentioned, what is the cons of this issue?
We hold on to that. Now we take a short break, but we come back now and focus on the cons. Because now, as much as now we talk about the good notes, that look good, smaller or bulky, the cons, because now also we need to talk about even the common mwananchi who is deep down in the village to understand that there's something happening. And also we'll be talking about the corridors of justice. Okiya Mtata has gone to court, and of course the former legislator who I think like now it's time for some changes to be made on the notes. And as you already mentioned, tenders, they've been paid. Everyone has been paid, like everyone involved has been paid. So why the rush to now change this? And that's also indeed maybe we're looking at the fact that even the Chief Justice is not involved in this case. So we're coming back after a short break. All right, welcome back to Morning Live. The issue of the corridors of justice, you've just seen Okiya Mtata, who was at the forefront to go to court concerning the Article 131, now which denies no portrait or any type of image should be part of the currency note, and as it is, there's a battle. So let's look at the battle. When you look at the battle and the systems as far as our judicial system is concerned, do you think this will be a winning case? You mentioned earlier that the tenders, everything's sorted out. People have been paid. Circulation is on right now. The case is in court. No withdrawal of all those notes will be very expensive again. Like, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think This is my opinion, and yeah, without discussing the merits or demerits of the case in court,
Okay.
that is a sub judice here. One of the things that, because it's a matter of public interest,
Yeah.
I think the challenge is about, Mutato's challenge is about, I don't know whether we really need to get it right. Is it Article 130? It should be 231, sub-Article 4,
Okay. Okay.
which is in subject of challenge, because it says that, you know, in the printing of that currency, that the Central Bank of Kenya government, and those who are concerned, must make sure that, you know, there is the face of the portrait there, it's one that depicts, you know, what is agreed on a national values. Now the contestation about this issue is the portrait of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta.
Okay.
And why is it? Because as a country, we have never had any, you know, discussion on what is, you know, the figures within our national values. Whether we have a picture of a president, or whether we have a picture of a lake, of a picture of a national park,
treasures,
national treasures. But you see, you know, the architecture of the Kenyatta International Convention Center. Nick, you know, when you're at school, when you're growing up, the only place you come to Nairobi is take a photo.
The KICC.
Is at KICC.
Some perspective angle, you touch it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It was
and
crazy,
when you're sitting on
top of it.
on top of it. But you know, that's true. The national side appears to be, you know, what really is an image of a national, you know, treasure. Or a national architecture. But now people are saying, what about the portrait of Mzee? You know, seated on that, you know, in that chair, or chair in quotes, that is in the. But now look, anybody who it's really difficult for you to take a picture at any angle at KICC and missing, you know, that that portrait, unless you take it from some quarters of Harambee Avenue or something. But I think as a country, I think we are, for me, that is petty. That instead of us trying to see how our economy blooms up, we are seated here going to court because of a portrait, you know. And
I was thinking the same. I need to be objective, but still, sure.
And as much as we, you know, the spirit and the letter of Constitution, but I think we began to be petty when we started talking about the images of the former president. I think we should just agree as a country that the founding father remains, you know, the image of the national unity and the national president. And yesterday I was challenging others on a different platform, telling them, if in the US, in the US dollar, there's no problem about the image of President Adams and maybe Abraham Lincoln on their currency. And the issue they're telling me is that the issue, they once sit down and discussed about it. And as a country, our undoing is the fact that we are not really promoting the public participation. Because why would we, the Central Kenya Bank governor, say that you will hear these promotional, you know, in media? I think that ought to have come first. For there to be a national conversation, what we called public participation, consulting Kenyans. What would you want us to appear on the portrait? What portrait would you want in the local currency? Vis-a-vis printing first and consulting Kenyans later. I think that is where we are creating a lacuna within the law for people to rush into courts and begin to, you know, petition these noble processes. For me, this is the blunder that we are doing always within our national policies. Could we always begin to engage the Kenyans first, so that later somebody would not rush to court and derail a process that already money is printed and there's a tender that is always given. So you see, there's a whole confusion because of a simple concept of lack of consulting Kenyans first before an initiative like this is
So do you think all these processes in court is just kind of in short, they're not going anywhere, because as it is, a new bench will be formed, Chief Justice will head everything, but again, look at the dynamics of even trying to bring this back to square one. In circulation already, has been printed already, people have been paid, everything is going on. It's October 1st, like done and dusted. What do you think?
Well, I think the other thing also, like, before I answer that, is the fact that the executive and the central bank, cheated us that, you see, this was gazetted. It wasn't gazetted. This is a declaration that, was mentioned.
It was actually Article 231.
Article 231, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a declaration that was mentioned. And you see, Nick, I don't know who is the president's handlers. Anything that, before any initiative be introduced on a national holiday, when there's a full view of the public, and then you call the Central Bank Kenya governor on a public holiday to make a pronouncement, make sure that all these processes had been done.
Mm-hmm.
And when there is a declaration, not anybody goes to court to poke holes and cast aspersion on the initiative. Now on the courts, I think we have to decide what is in the good of the public and what is in the good of the judicial system. I think for now, 40% of the currency is already printed.
Yeah.
Right? Already, by October 1st, even before, we'll have a lot of circulation on this currency.
Yeah.
And people, already there's an executive order through, the central bank that you really need to exchange these notes before 31st of October. And I don't see them unless there's going to be an extension.
Okay.
But for me, I think these cases are either going to be settled out of courts, or they're going to find...
At the level of arbitration, I don't think if we'll reach that level.
No, that's why I'm telling you.
Because now, this is an interest of just few individuals who think maybe it's a high time we need to just focus on the economy. Like, outside court, how will they benefit? Arbitration comes in where it's there's two-way traffic here.
But then there are many cases, Nick, that you see. That's why I say this is a matter of public interest. It's a matter that Kenyans really... It's economy, do or die, because this is what I say. It's already an executive order that is already issued. Yeah. Already, a process has already been facilitated through the central bank. The judiciary will act on matters of public interest. How many issues have we seen that have reached the Supreme Court, including the presidential petition of 2013? But the bench decided to act on the motion of the public. What is in the public domain is generally agreed. And one of the things that you're going to see right now is what whips the public interest is the political interest. Yesterday, the members of Orange Democratic Movement, they gave it a green light. They gave it a green light. Who had actually contested before and said there is no way this portrait is going to appear, withdrew their stand and say we are fully behind. And that has whipped the public attention, because now it is said within the spirit of the handshake and the latter, we are going to settle this matter. We do not want to hear anything that is going to derail. And that's why the courts are going to take a decision on that.
Now, the Central Bank of Kenya Governor, Patrick Njoroge, from his speech the other day during the press conference, clearly said that indeed he wants to go deep down to the crooked hands, which of course, as I mentioned, the wash team. You see money laundering also in the picture has been something really that detrimental to Kenya's economy. Do you think this will be a success story, or maybe estimation for how long will this go?
Well, I think...
let me not put you on the spot. You're not an economist. But
I am not. But then, generally, I think, just like I've said, we can always have comparative and comparative. India, Zimbabwe tried the same thing. You know what happened to Zimbabwe, even as we speak.
It's crazy.
But then India is trying to struggle with that.
How much? 2 billion.
2 billion. Kenyans are now at it.
Yeah.
But you see what happens is that, money launderers are equally sharp and they're equally clever.
That's the point. That's the point.
They're not sleeping and waiting to be caught off guard. And hence, what example has we just given? We've given an example just a day after the declaration. In Samburu, A driver.
Was nabbed.
So how many cases are happening right now as we speak that are still not reported?
Okay.
People are going to find their way to change these currencies or trying to devise a mechanism. And it's not easy to you know, you're dealing with generally an organized crime.
Okay. And what of guys who have this strong relationship with banks that indeed they can just, when you have a provision of bulk banking, that means you can also always do this.
And that's why I'm telling you, also the banking sector, you know, it's not as perfect as people that worked there as well. So that's why I'm saying it's, if we have a system of an organized crime, it becomes organized even within the lending institution. But then there's another move that it's gonna bring complications.
Yeah.
Remember, our currency is a bit strong in the region. And you see, if it's not gonna, if there are going to be hiccups in terms of exchange, these guys are gonna try to exchange it within the East African community. You know, there are banks not in Kenya. If the laws becomes difficult in Kenya, there is Tanzania, there is Uganda, you know, up here in Ethiopia and all other areas. So that's what I'm saying is that, you know, this, unless there is a measure by the central bank to reach out to, you know, the regional banks and try to curb out these flows. But again, let's come back here.
But before in fact we proceed, there's a question on Twitter by Sam Karanja, aka Saranjus. I think Mudimba, do you think the wananchi will have a hard time adjusting to the new currencies? Won't fake money be rampant in the early stages? Should the government roll out some public education and awareness of the same? I don't think what was shown on Madaraka Day was enough. Do you agree with Ranjo?
100%. That's what I've said.
Okay.
How do you introduce a policy and then come up with public participation later? And is very right in terms of saying that few, maybe in between August, you know, September, October, and post-October. Since Kenyans have to be really taught very well what is the new currency, what is the texture, what is the watermark that is there. Because Kenyans are actually going to lose money in the form of fake currency. And I like what you said. What about Mamamboga down there in Siaya, in Ugenya, or in Nyangweso, or in, you know, in Boni, in Nyeri,
in Lamu, deep
who
down,
do not have an access to television to see how it appears. So you see, there needs to be very massive roll-up to civic education. Where people would actually, even if it takes lining up the citizens and telling them, come, see, feel, touch, this is the local currency. If that is what it will take, then let it take that. Because otherwise, Wanjikus are going to lose their money. They had money to, you know, to these kind of illicit exchanges. But this is why I say it is very, very, very important. Just like, you know, we always have a very thorough civic education to election day. But then these very important policies, we just try to joke around with them and say we will educate, we'll go through the radio. Not so many Kenyans have access to media, to television, to print, even televised. Could we have a massive rollout?
Okay. Now, finally, before we wind up this conversation, the public confidence. Now, public involvement has been something not really common with the Kenyan government, whereby sometimes they just ambush people. But look at the bigger picture of whereby now, that surprise aspect whereby you look at the note, you feel like, I think I'm happy or not happy. But do you think at the end of the day, we needed it? And some legislators are saying, now we'll be having an easy time to carry this amount of money to Harambes in churches, because sometimes you might have 100,000, someone thinks you have 500,000 because they were kind of bulky. Now, even the CBK governor said it's kind of, looks good, smaller, easy to carry, but look at the issues regarding to integrity of bulk accounting, bulk movement of cash. What do you think?
I think it's gonna get more serious. The question that you are thinking about, because then if it becomes, you know, less bulky, it becomes easier to carry more and more. That's from
it's true that it's true.
And it doesn't take a rocket science to know that. But now I am very surprised, like you also saying, that a rejoinder is about the guys who carry bulky money to Harambes. Not really the interest of the citizens who really want to get involved about, the issue about the money. And Nick, I am very saddened by the fact that any times we come up with a very noble policy, it's just hijacked.
Okay.
Just like that.
All right.
So it's instead of us talking about how do Wanjikus know so that they do not become, palpable or vulnerable to fake money. Somebody has already taken it and talked about, we really get now easier time to carry monies for Arambes and all these things.
Finally, just before I let you go, as a guy, Edmond says, money is money. Whether you have portrait, whether you have nothing. When you don't have it, you don't have it. When you have it, you have it. So, with the portrait or not, money is money. All right. His opinion.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for coming to the studio. I hope I'll see you soon again as we follow up on this issue, because at the end of the day, we feel like it's null and void.
Yeah.
It's just done.
Yeah.
Done deal.
And I think you should have a conversation. This is a youth more access, and young people. Somebody made a joke that, you see, if young people do not have a job, why can they now be given a job of going to exchange this $1,000 notes? But again, for the better, it's more that we educate the citizens on the changes.
Okay, thank you so much.